If you are regular with me on a Saturday morning between 9 and midday, you'll know at around about this time I invite some unsuspecting individual to join me in this lovely BBC studio with bright red wallpaper and a rather splendid leatherette couch. I say leatherette because we can't afford leather. This is the BBC after all, you know. Anyway, the victim this week, if I can put it that way, is Dr. Julia Piper. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tony.
Now then, you're a GP.
I am.
But not just any old GP, I think it's fair to say, because you run a private general practice.
Yes, I do, Tony. So it's quite different because there aren't many private GPs really outside of London. Most of them are in London, and I started doing this about 20 years ago, and I don't know if I really realised it was going to be full-time and the way it is, but it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Why did you decide to take that step and effectively turn your back on the NHS? Because you must have been trained by the NHS.
Yes. I mean, I suppose initially I didn't turn my back, because I really am a great supporter of the NHS, Tony. It does, wonderful work, and there's still pockets of excellence. And so I did a locum for the NHS for many, many years. But as the private work sort of took, I suppose, got busier, and then big organisations like the Care Quality Commission came into play, I suppose I had to focus on it more, and it wasn't something I necessarily intended. It just evolved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and here you are. What was it, the mid-90s you launched your private practice?
Yes, mid-90s, and I suppose it was because I kept coming to a full stop, Tony, with being able to help. I feel medicine is fantastic, and the NHS is fantastic, but sometimes it will only deal with that 10% of disease, and I felt that the 90% of other issues and other problems that people had, it was sometimes difficult to have the time to solve. And I thought, look, let's provide something where people could have more time and try to get to the root of their problems. So, yeah, I think it was an altruistic one. And also, being quite a creative person, I think I was creating something that, I needed. Do you know what I mean? Probably a little bit for me as well, maybe.
So what are the most common ailments that people consult you about, may I ask? Without naming names, of course. Not that you would anyway, but I would never ask that.
Yes, no, I understand. It could be anything, that... I suppose every GP says that every day is different because you never quite know, who's going to walk through the door and what problems they have. But we deal a lot with mental illness, and so there's so much out there. I say mental illness, but just some people who are stressed or with anxiety, depression, and there's a lot of, again, sadly. Even things like schizophrenia and psychosis getting more common, and maybe in children, Asperger's or ADHD or autism. And we deal with a lot of the challenging areas that are maybe not quite so well handled with the NHS, and a lot of the chronic illnesses and cancer patients a lot, because we can offer just other options where they can do more for themselves as well as having all the excellent medical care that's out there.
Why did you want to become a doctor in the first place? Was it, a long-standing ambition ever since you can remember as a little girl?
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. I mean, ever since I was sort of tiny, I always wanted to be a doctor. And even as I grew up, and my dad was, but Julia, are you sure you want to be an engineer? You'd be a very good engineer and
really?
And a lawyer or And it's funny. I don't know. I never budged. I don't know why I didn't. And I still know I'm in the right place. So. I don't really know. You try to explore it, don't you? And sometimes I've thought to myself, Julia, you're actually in the wrong place because medicine is so prescriptive. I used to think that, but now since I've got my own practice, and we've been doing work with nutrition and functional medicine, acupuncture and hypnotherapy, that we can offer all these other options to people.
So you harmonise, or should I say complement, what you do with conventional medicine.
Yes, that's it.
With the alternative treatments as well.
That's right. So it's very holistic. So I think actually I fit more in my own skin as a doctor because I sort of have created it into something where we can offer a one-stop shop to everybody. Do you know what I mean? So not just deal with those diseases and deal with those as well as we possibly can, but also in conventional medical terms, but also try to understand the roots of those illnesses and get to those. And so I think, and people just seem to like it, and certainly it's a great privilege and pleasure to help.
Okay. Let's drill down a little bit deeper now and talk to you about the person behind Dr. Julia Piper. Obviously, you're a professional to your fingertips. You see your patients, you spend time talking to them. There must be times, though, when you feel frustrated as a medical person if you aren't able to give them the answers that they seek. Do you see where I'm going to on this one? I suppose it's a long-winded way of saying, how do you switch off? How can you stop taking your work home with you, if you will?
That's a difficult one, actually, Tony, because I actually live with my practice.
Because I get involved, you see.
So it's difficult, isn't it?
If somebody came to see me, not that they would in a million years, and there's no reason why they should, because I'm not qualified, far from it. But I'm just trying to put myself in your position for a moment. And if somebody came to me and they got really deep-seated problems, but I was finding it so difficult to get to the bottom of it, it would eat away at me when I got home, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I mean, I suppose after 30 years' experience, it's sort of, I've got much better at that, Tony. And the practice is very much a multidisciplinary team. We have so there is a psychiatrist, psychologist, a paediatrician, nutritionist, massage therapist, we have nurses. So essentially, there's a tremendous support network. And in medicine, when you feel you reach the limits of whatever it is, you need to refer, you need to work as a team. So we very much work as a team. And so if ever I feel frustrated, it may be a sign I'm reaching the limits there. So, I'll often refer. And, yes... So I reckon that's the key, this teamwork.
Right, OK. That's the art of management, isn't it? A form of delegation.
Yes, it's a form of managing yourself, knowing what your limits are. And I think it's over the years, there have been times where I recognise I haven't protected myself enough. I understand what you're saying here. And so I have learnt tools myself, such as meditational tools and being quite sort of firm with myself.
So you meditate?
Sure. Well, to a degree. Some people are very serious about that, but I have tools like I teach patients self-hypnosis, and I have meditation, and those are tools I've used for many, many years, actually.
Self-hypnosis?
Self-hypnosis. It's a form of guided imagery, so it's a little bit like meditation, but you're using imagery to just climb into a beautiful place to relax, so at its very simplest. And so these tools and many others are very, very helpful. But the very biggest thing, Tony, is balance. I always say, and I think, right the way through my life, I've always said, important to get balance, and there have been times where I haven't had balance because I've worked too hard and been, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we all do that from time to time. So it's getting your sport, it's getting your relaxation, it's getting your creativity. I've taken up art. My daughter taught me how to paint a few years ago, and all these things, they give you balance, because you really can't heal other people unless you can heal yourself.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. It leads me on to really asking you how you switch off. I mean, wine?
Oh, yes, I always have a glass of wine. That's terrible, I know. But I do. Most evenings, unashamed to say, I just have a glass of wine, and it's just wonderful.
A glass?
A glass, well, maybe two. It depends. If I'm out with a friend, it probably is more than one.
That's some of the glasses these days.
I know,
you go to glasses. A pub, not that I go to pubs, not a drop of drink touches my lips.
Oh, no.
Go straight to the back of my throat. No, but some of the pubs that you go to, the glasses that they offer you, even when you say, I'll have a small one, please, not that I ever do, but if I say, I'll have a small one, please, even those glasses are quite large, aren't they?
They're huge. They are. I mean, to be honest, a glass is fine. And if I'm out, I'll probably have a drink a little bit more. But in general, I don't drink too much because, I'm very fairly health conscious. It all comes back to this balance thing, Tony.
It does indeed,
so,
yes. Everything in moderation.
I know.
Boring.
I don't like feeling unwell anyway, so I don't have too much. So.
All right. Well, this brings me now to the part of our conversation where I fire some questions in your direction.
Okay.
And on the subject of alcohol,
yes,
red or white?
Red.
Because?
It's more antioxidants, better for you.
That's just the right answer. That's just what I wanted to hear, you see.
Oh, I passed.
Because my wife and I, we imbibe occasionally. like every hour or whatever. Anyway, and, I've always said, I read somewhere years ago that the reds had these antioxidants in, and the Chilean wines in particular have more than the Bulgarian ones. And that's at the, two ends of the scale. 4% as opposed to 40.
I think Merlot's quite good, apparently.
Yeah,
so.
Merlot, not Cab Sav then.
Well, so Merlot as you understand it. But...
Oh, okay, right. Fair enough. All right, let's move on with some more quick-fire questions, shall we? Okay, so glass half full or half empty?
Or half full.
I'm not talking about how much wine you have. I'm talking about your outlook on life.
Half full.
Half full. Are there no times when, you think to yourself, oh, dear, I wish I'd have done so-and-so?
Do you know... I don't, because I always feel that whatever happens in life is got a message for you. And actually, those down times and those times of quiet, that it means that there's something else around the corner. And to every cloud there's a silver lining. And, my philosophy has sort of about turned. And I didn't always think that way, but I do now.
What's changed?
Well, just this positivity and joy with life. And what changed that? Gosh, a number of things over the years, but that's the subject of another story.
Oh, well, you tease. Life is too short to have regrets, that's what I say.
I know, I agree.
Tea or coffee?
Usually tea.
Because?
Herbal teas. Nutritional again, I suppose, because it has a better balance on blood sugar levels.
That's not proper tea, is it?
Peppermint tea.
That's not proper tea either.
No. I do like ordinary tea as well. I do. And I have all sorts of teas actually, and I do drink coffee too. But peppermint, as I say, that just happens to be a favourite of mine. But I think also in terms of hydration, I don't drink enough water. So every time you drink a proper tea or a coffee, it can dehydrate you because it's got a diuretic effect. So I think, okay, water and peppermint whenever you can, Julia. It's not all the time, believe me, but I try to discipline myself a little.
Do you think some people drink too much water though? Because I see them going around with bottles of water as if they're sort of an appendage to them permanently.
I know. I think sometimes though people do need to do that. Sometimes for health reasons, though. You don't always know why they do it, do you? And I think the body, a lot of us at times in current life, and I suppose it's always been like that way to a degree, get very quite toxic bodies, with all the chemicals and things that are around, and the types of diets we eat. So hydration is quite good because it keeps these flowing out of the body. So.
You don't believe in detoxes, do you?
I believe in a good, you can have a toxic diet, can't you, with processed food.
Indeed.
So by the same maxim, you can have a detox diet, so you have lots of greens and whole food and, food from the trees and the ground and fish. And, so if you're eating a whole food diet, that in general is less toxic for the body. So it's all relative, isn't it?
But the body's a pretty good detox in itself, isn't it?
Oh, the body's amazing.
Amazing.
The body's amazing.
Okay. Star Wars. There's a new Star Wars film out. I hear it's been screened today. Gosh. Star Wars or Star Trek, though?
Oh, Star Trek.
Yeah?
Star Trek. I always watched Star Trek. I don't know why, but...
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yes. I think because I like these sort of human beings as opposed to the... Yeah, so I enjoyed Star Trek. I watched it all the time.
I can hear some ethereal music coming through. I think that's your mobile, is it? Am I right?
It might be. May well be.
Can we have a hammer in here, please?
I'll just kick it, shall I?
That shouts volumes, though, because it is very ethereal music.
Yes, it is.
You don't have a ring, because psychologically, your ringtone shouts volumes.
It does.
So I'm told.
It does, actually. And people always say to me, Julia, you're a very calm person, very calm. And I'm not always calm, by the way, but mostly I'm very calm inside. So that's true. It probably does reflect that.
Okay, you see.
Interesting, isn't it?
Cereal or fry-up? I know what the answer's going to be for this one, don't I?
Yeah.
Hey?
I mean, cereal mostly, but I love a fry-up as well. But you know what it is when you go away on holiday or you have somebody around to stay, you have a fry-up and it's just so divine.
Why is everything you like bad for you?
Yeah, I know. I think it's because it's all addictive, isn't it? It's designed that way, really. I think you've got to have a bit of what is bad for you, haven't you? Because it's fun, and you've got to live life and relax and enjoy yourself as well. So,
Okay. Do you watch telly?
A bit, actually.
EastEnders or Corrie?
Oh, actually, if I watch it, I haven't watched it for ages, it's EastEnders.
Right.
Yeah.
Depressing, though, isn't it? iPod or CD?
Say again.
iPod or CD?
Oh, iPod. Well, iPhone, actually. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've linked that through to this sort of system in my house, which is a wireless system, and I can sort of play it through the speakers.
Oh, my
house,
daughter's got that all over our house. It drives me mad. Anyway, so what sort of stuff would you have on your iPod? Would it be Beatles or the Stones, more likely?
Well, of the two, I mean, probably Beatles, I would say. And, again, a whole range, really, whole range. I mean... I suppose people like Katie Melly, although she's not been around quite so much recently.
She hasn't, has she?
Emily Sunday.
Oh,
I love her.
Yeah,
I love her.
Some great female artists around these days, really are. Okay, Strictly or X Factor?
X Factor more, I've watched, yes. Yeah. And again, fascinating to see people moving and changing, really. I know they're very trained and so on, but, hats off to these people. And fascinating also even to watch the judging and the way they interact and the personalities behind them. Really, it's fascinating.
Okay. I just got one more for you. Jeremy Clarkson or James May?
Jeremy Clarkson.
Really?
Yes.
I'd have thought you'd been a James May woman.
Well, actually,
because he's more cultured and refined,
really. Jeremy, well, actually, it's interesting. Yes, it sounds like a wild side of me, probably. But no, Jeremy, I just love the trips they do, and I love the humour, and I quite like cars, actually. So yeah, it's Jeremy.
Dr. Julia Piper, thank you so much indeed for joining me on the couch. We learnt a little bit more about you. It's privategp.com, based in Stonygoat, Leicester.
Yes.
And this is where you get to introduce a favourite piece of music.
Well, it's called Human by the Killers, and it's full of energy, and it makes me want to dance. So if I'm feeling a little bit low, as you mentioned earlier, I'll put this on and have a little dance, and it makes me feel better. So,
Dr. Julia Piper, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure.
I did my best to know